Now, a lot of candidates have problems in their driving test because they don't understand their right-of-way rules. So today in this video, we're going to show you a series of slides which highlight the various situations you might encounter when you come to a stop line or a give way line at a controlled intersection. Now just bear in mind that the examples we show you here pertain to countries where you drive on the left-hand side of the road and have the steering wheel on the right-hand side of the vehicle. Now you just need to bear in mind that for all of these slides that are to follow, there would normally be cars on the continuing road that's not controlled by the stop sign. So for simplicity, we've just removed the cars from most of those slides, and we're just talking about the interactions between cars that are facing the stop lines and also interactions between pedestrians. So bear in mind, if you're at a stop sign, you need to give way to all of the cars that are on the road that does not have the stop sign. Same applies with giveways. If you're at a giveaway sign, you give way to all the vehicles on the road that doesn't have the giveaway sign. But you'll see in the following slides that we're really just talking about the cars at the stop lines and their interactions with each other. But again, bear in mind, the cars on the other road have priority at all times. Now in this example, we've got vehicles on the road that's not controlled by the stop sign, so they are the two red cars. The two red cars proceed first, and then it's up to the drivers of the blue car and the purple car to work out who goes first amongst them. Now, because both of those cars are turning right, their paths don't clash, so they both proceed at the same time. So in this case, there are no vehicles on the main road, so the purple and the red car can both proceed at the same time because clearly their paths will not clash. And again, in this case, we've got the purple car turning left and the red car going straight ahead. So again, their paths don't clash. They can both proceed at the same time. Now in this slide, we've got the purple car turning left and the red car turning right. Now the thing to remember here is that you're never allowed to do a right-hand turn across the path of a car that's going straight ahead or a car that's turning left. So clearly, in this case, the purple car goes first. Now another way that some people try and remember this is that the small turn goes before the big turn. So when you look at the length of the manoeuvre for a left-hand turn, it's quite a short distance around the corner, whereas the right-hand turn has to go a long way further to turn right. So that's the way that people sometimes remember it. The small turn goes before the big turn. Now in this case, we've got the purple car going straight ahead and the red car turning left. So clearly their paths don't clash and they can both proceed at the same time. Now this next slide is really a no-brainer. Both cars are going straight ahead, so clearly they can both go at the same time. So here's an example of the purple car going straight ahead and the red car doing a right-hand turn. Now in this case, you can see from the arrows on the road that there would be a clash if both cars proceeded at the same time. But it goes back to the old rule that says you cannot do a right-hand turn across the path of an oncoming vehicle. So in this case, clearly it's the purple car that goes first. Now we've had this one before, but it's one that people always seem to trip up on. Both the blue car and the purple car are turning right, so their paths do not clash. So in this situation, you go at the same time. If you hesitate and let all the cars that are turning right on the other side go, while you're trying to turn right, you could end up getting failed in your driving test for not understanding the rules. So again, when you're both turning right and there's nobody else involved in the manoeuvre, you can both proceed at the same time. Now this is a really common situation for the driving test. So if you were in the purple car at the start of your test, leaving a car park and going onto the street, you're doing a right-hand turn in this situation and you've got a car on the opposite side of the intersection doing a left-hand turn, it's that rule about doing a right-hand turn across somebody's path. The purple car cannot go because the other car is doing a left-hand turn onto the street, and if you both proceeded at the same time, there's potentially a crash. So again, the car doing the right-hand turn waits for the car that's doing the left-hand turn. So the blue car goes first. Now this is another one that often causes people to fail their driving test. Again, if you're in the purple car, coming out of a car park or turning off a street, doing a right-hand turn,
and you have a car opposite you that is going straight ahead, then it's the red car that goes first, because then they're going straight. The purple car is doing the right-hand turn, and you cannot do a right-hand turn across the path of an oncoming vehicle. Now, the problem arises sometimes in that the driver on the other side, that is, the driver of the red car, doesn't understand road rules and hesitates. Now, if you're doing your driving test in the purple car and the other driver hesitates, you cannot go, because it's non-negotiable. You cannot do a right-hand turn across the path of a car that's travelling straight ahead or turning left. If you go, you will fail your test. Now, this is a situation that confuses a lot of drivers. If it was just about the cars, then clearly the red car can go and the purple car can go at the same time. However, in this situation, we've got a pedestrian who's attempting to cross the road that the purple car is turning into. So the pedestrian has right of way. So the purple car must wait for the pedestrian to cross. Now, in a lot of situations, the pedestrian is hesitant to cross, either because they don't know road rules themselves, or they just don't want to walk out in front of a car onto a road. But there are situations where you'll have this stalemate between the car that's turning and the pedestrian. Now, as a driver, you are not allowed to gesture or wave to the pedestrian to encourage them to step onto the road. It must be the pedestrian's own decision to step onto the road. So all you can do here in this situation, if the pedestrian doesn't walk, is to make eye contact, just to let them know that you can see them. And then if they don't go, the best idea is to say to the assessor, the pedestrian has right of way. I can't go without breaking the law. Now, in that case, the assessor will then know that you have a firm understanding of the rules, and they may just be happy for you to proceed with caution. But you cannot just take it upon yourself to go if that pedestrian has right of way. Now, there may be a situation where the pedestrian is not going to walk onto the street because there might be traffic coming from the left-hand side of this picture here. So if there is traffic coming up that street from the left-hand side, it's understandable that the pedestrian would not want to step onto the road. So in that case, you could proceed with caution, because it's not feasible for a pedestrian to walk out onto the road in front of another car. Now, following on from the previous slide with regard to pedestrians, in this case, again, the pedestrian has right of way to go before the purple car. And the purple car has right of way against the red car because the red car is doing a right-hand turn. So what should happen here is that the pedestrian walks across the road first, then the purple car goes, and then the red car goes. Now, you could have a situation where you have drivers here that don't understand the rules, and that the driver in the red car decides to go because the purple car had plenty of time to go and didn't actually go. So you could end up with a clash there between pedestrians and cars. But again, the rules are clear. The pedestrian has right of way, pedestrian goes first, then the car turning left goes next, and then the car going right will go when there's no potential clash with any other vehicles. So this one's also complicated by the existence of a pedestrian. So in normal circumstances, the blue car would be able to turn the corner straight away. However, the existence of that pedestrian means that the blue car has to wait for that pedestrian to go first. Now, while all this is happening, the red car can go because there's nobody that's going to be in the red car's path, and there are no pedestrians on that other side of the intersection. So the red car can clear out while the pedestrian is getting across the road. Once the pedestrian's across the road, then the blue car can go, and then the purple car can go after the blue car. But you do still have this situation where the pedestrian may be reluctant to step onto the road. So just remember, as a driver, you can never wave to a pedestrian to wave them onto the road. It must be that pedestrian's own decision to step onto the road. And if you did wave somebody on, apart from having a very good chance of failing your test for doing so, you could also cause major problems for that pedestrian. If they step onto the road watching you, they may get run over by a vehicle coming in the other direction. Now, the situation gets a little bit more complicated in this slide. We've got a situation here where the driver of the purple car is doing a left-hand turn at the stop sign, but they cannot see far enough down the street to their right to see whether it's clear to go. So they need to sit there and wait until they can see. The driver of the blue car would be able to turn left in normal circumstances. However, they're waiting for a pedestrian. So we've got a couple of cars turning left that are waiting. The pedestrian will eventually cross the road to allow the blue car to go. But in the meantime, the red car can go because it's going straight ahead. The bus needs to wait for the red car. The bus also needs to wait for the blue car. So the red car would go, the pedestrian would clear, the blue car would turn left. That would then free up the bus to go and turn right. And once the bus has turned right, then the driver of the purple car would have a clear view down the street and would be able to go when it's safe. So in this case, we've got the blue car going straight ahead, we've got the pedestrian crossing the road, and we've got the purple car trying to do a right-hand turn. Now the blue car can go straight away. The pedestrian should go straight away. However, the pedestrian may look across and see the purple car with its right indicator on, and the pedestrian might be reluctant to step onto the road. If you are the driver of the purple car turning right there, in your driving test, do not go if the pedestrian is standing there at the intersection. The pedestrian does have right of way. So you as the driver need to say to the assessor that the pedestrian has right of way, and then they will at least know that you understand the road rules. They may advise you to proceed with caution, or the pedestrian may eventually decide to walk across the road themselves. Now this is another one that normally would be fairly straightforward, but it's complicated by the presence of that pedestrian there. So the blue car has right of way against the purple car, so it's clearly going to be the first car that goes. However, the blue car needs to wait for the pedestrian. Now, you're probably sitting there in the purple car, and that's just some other driver on the road who's probably got their license years ago and doesn't necessarily follow road rules to the letter of the law. So what might happen here is that you're waiting there to turn right at the start of your driving test in the purple car. The blue car is over there waiting to turn left, and the blue car disregards the existence of that pedestrian and just goes. Now you as the driver of the purple car doing your driving test can't just follow the lead of the driver of the blue car. You must obey road rules, so you must give way to that pedestrian who's attempting to cross the road. So again, make eye contact with the pedestrian, let them know you can see them, give them a chance to step onto the road. If they decide not to step onto the road, just have a quick word to the assessor just to let them know that you understand that the pedestrian has right of way. And the final slide here, just another one of these ones complicated by the existence of a pedestrian. So in normal circumstances, the red car can go unimpeded because there's nobody in its way. Normally the blue car would just go around the corner because they're turning left. However, they have to wait for that pedestrian. The pedestrian goes first, then the blue car goes, and then you in the purple car would go. Now just be careful, as per the previous slide, if the driver of the blue car disregards the pedestrian and just goes anyhow, if you're in the purple car, do not just follow that lead. The blue car driver would have done the wrong thing by going when the pedestrian was waiting to cross. But you are trying to prove to the assessor in your driving test that you understand road rules. So make sure that despite what the blue car driver might have done, you make sure that you do the right thing by that pedestrian. You've got to wait for them. If they don't go, then you've just got to let the assessor know that you understand the road rules and that that pedestrian has right of way. Now, in terms of other things to consider when you're coming up to stop lines, what you do need to keep in mind is that most drivers do not stop properly at stop signs. So if you're in the purple car and you're trying to get across from your side and there's somebody approaching that stop line on the other side from a distance, if they're far enough away, you can assume that they are going to stop and that you can get around. However, if they're close enough that it becomes a bit of a danger that they might just run the stop sign, then you have to be cautious and just work on the basis that that driver might do the wrong thing. So for instance, if you were turning right and there was somebody coming up to turn left or go straight ahead, but they were several meters back, just be cautious, because if they get too close, there's a danger they may come through and cause a clash. It's a bit of a grey area. When is too close and when is not close enough? You've just got to use your best judgment. But don't get into a position where the assessor might feel a need to put the brake on to avoid an accident. Now the other thing to consider is that if you're doing something where you do have right of way and there's a driver on the other side who clearly does not have right of way, then you've got to be on guard against that driver doing the wrong thing. So if you start to proceed when you have right of way and the other driver proceeds at the same time when they don't have right of way, you've got to very quickly avoid a crisis. So that would normally involve getting onto the brakes before the assessor does. Because if you're too slow getting onto the brakes to avoid a crisis and the assessor gets onto the brakes first, then that's intervention and that's the end of the test. Now I hope you've managed to get through this far into this long drawn out video, but all of these examples are very important. You do encounter these situations in your driving test from time to time, and you need to know how to handle them. Thanks very much if you've managed to get this far through the video, and I hope you've learned something from it and can take that forward with your driving and with your driving test. Good luck, and thanks very much for watching. It would be great if you could subscribe and just let your friends know about the existence of these videos.